Let's face it, it can be tough to start those conversations about race, racism, and racial justice, even among friends. Sometimes, honestly, you just don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's important still to get that dialogue going, no matter what, to help address the issues bubbling up in the wake of the nationwide protests around the country over injustice, brutality, all those issues raised in this recent and contentious presidential election. Well, there's now a book for you. It was just released today. Offers some much needed guidance. It's called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. Now let's bring in that black man and talk about it. Former NFL quarterback, linebacker, right? That doesn't look like a quarterback there. Look at that. That's not a quarterback. That's a linebacker right there. Sports analyst and now author, Emmanuel Acho. My man, good to see you so much. So it's called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. So let's start with that. Let's have an uncomfortable conversation here. And let's start with the presidential election, if we can, right? There's the talk, of course. Joe Biden got a record number of votes for a presidential candidate. Well, the person who got the second most in the history of the country as a candidate is President Trump. What does that tell you at a time where people are saying, you know what? People have voted Trump out, so this tells us something about where we are as a country. But what does it tell you that still that many people wanted Trump to stay in office?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I try to look at is always the silver lining. And for me, the silver lining is more than ever, most people voted, right? Everybody finally realized we have power, we have authority. I never cared and never told someone, rather, who they should vote for. All I cared was that people used that right and voted, that people used that privilege to vote. So for me, it's not about necessarily what decision you choose, because to some degree, there are different motivational factors for the decisions that different people are making. But for me, everyone used your voice. People fought for that. People marched for that. And a lot of people labored intensively for that right to vote. So I'm just proud that so many people got up to vote.
That's great. And, you know, you talk about the privilege to vote, but you also address something that a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about: white privilege. And in fact, you had Chelsea Handler on just with a new episode of your podcast talking about that very subject. What do you want people to know?
I want people to know very simply this. Everybody hears that word white privilege, and it can be very frustrating. But white privilege is simply not saying that your life hasn't been hard. It's saying that your skin color hasn't contributed to the difficulty of your life. What is the adjective that precedes the word privilege? See, you can have famous person privilege. I was walking down the streets of Beverly Hills the other day. I walked into a restaurant. Someone said, "Emmanuel, I love your show. Your meal is on me." I didn't get that because I was 6'2". I didn't get that free meal because I was black. I got that free meal because I was famous. It's the same thing in America. Based on being white, you have certain privileges, certain access in this life. It's not saying that your life hasn't been hard. It's simply saying your skin color hasn't contributed to the difficulty of your life. Once we acknowledge that everyone can have privilege at times, how are you using that privilege to benefit those around you?
Is it going too high of a standard or a goal when we say we want to end racism? That sounds like what we should be aiming for, but that seems like almost an unattainable goal. Is that how you put it as well? We're trying to end racism?
I put it like this: racism is not a finish line that we will cross. Ending racism is a road that we will travel.
Emmanuel, I love the way you put things. I learn something from you every time I listen to you. I can't wait to read this book. It's sitting in my dressing room. I'm going to start it tonight. I know someone else who's really into this book. She helped publish it, Oprah Winfrey, and she actually is adding this to some of her favorite things. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
Y'all know I love a book, and the chance to translate this message that you've been bringing, Emmanuel, into a written format just excites me so much, because I know that what you're doing is so important.
What do you want readers to take away from this book ultimately? White, black, brown, whatever color you are.
I love that question. I want readers to understand that they individually have the ability to change the world. The reason so many people don't do anything, is because they fear they can't do everything. Don't let your inability to do everything stop you from doing anything at all.
Well, man, it is really good to talk to you. And again, we talk about privilege and your privilege. You got Oprah on your side and you were walking down the streets of Beverly Hills. You sound like you're doing better than most quarterbacks anyway these days. Emmanuel. And also, get this, Robot, it's his birthday today.
Happy birthday! Hi. We have cupcakes for you.
Thank you, thank you.
It's kind of
Do
mean.
you? Please mail them my way.
Yeah. Well, yes, the
Oh, that
birthday.
looks good.
You could be anywhere in the world, and you decide to be here with us. Emmanuel, good to see you. The book is called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. It's available now. It's always good to see him. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you to Emmanuel.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.